What is going on, guys? As I'm sure all of you well know by now, the phone I've been using for the last maybe 4 or 5 months is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2, and there's really only two devices in the upcoming months that I'm excited about at all. One of them is the Surface Duo 2, Surface Zeta, which I am extremely excited about. But the other one is the sequel to this device, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. And it just so happens that we finally have some pretty decent seeming evidence as to when this thing's going to be fully announced and when its actual release date is going to be. So what we have here is a report from Digital Daily News, which is a Korean website, which no, I cannot read because it's in Korean and I don't speak Korean. But luckily, other people who do speak Korean have read this report and have translated this thing into English and are telling us that August 11th is the date for Samsung's upcoming Unpacked event. Now, in the past, we had thought that August the 3rd was going to be the date, but now we're looking at August 11th, and apparently they're saying this is confirmed by Samsung. Now, we don't have, separate confirmation. No one else has gotten this confirmation from Samsung, but apparently this is confirmed, and apparently Digital Daily News is somewhat reputable. And not only do we have reports of August 11th being the date for Samsung's Unpacked event, we also have reports that August the 27th will be the date that the Z Fold 3 and the Z Flip 3 will be hitting store shelves. Now, if you don't know all the details about what Z Fold 3 is going to be all about, I think it's going to be a pretty interesting device. We've got some pretty good leaked renders here, although this render is not fully accurate because you can in fact see the selfie camera there, which will not be the case. It will be an under display selfie camera. But as you can see, the camera bump is the first thing my eye goes to in terms of big differences between this and the Z Fold 2, because the Z Fold 2 has a giant camera bump, and not only is it smaller, it's also not nearly as thick. It doesn't come out from the back of the phone nearly as far. It is going to keep being the same 12 megapixel triple camera setup. So you have a 12 megapixel standard, an ultra wide, and a 2x telephoto. You have a 16 megapixel under display camera on the interior, and then on the front, which isn't shown in this render, but it will be almost identical to what we have on the Z Fold 2, with the exception to it being a 10 megapixel camera up top and it being a 120 hertz screen here to match the 120 hertz screen on the inside. There's also obviously here the S Pen. Now, there's not going to be a place to stow the S Pen in the Fold, and I mean, part of the reason is because the thing is quite thin when it's unfolded, and it would have to be a very small S Pen, and you'd be losing battery to make room for it, and all these sorts of things. So what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to give you a case, or there's going to be a case you can buy that will give you a place to stow that pen away, like they did with the S21 Ultra. That's speculation, but perhaps they'll do something like that. But it will be compatible with the S Pen, which tells us that the ultra thin glass on the Z Fold 3 is going to be quite a bit more durable than the ultra thin glass that is on the Z Fold 2. Otherwise, you're just not going to be dragging a pen across the screen, the glass on the Z Fold 2. Too many reports of stress fractures in that bent area in the screen. So they've definitely done a lot to make that ultra thin glass a whole heck of a lot thicker. And I think this is also just really important in general because the Z Fold 2 is a really tremendous productivity style device. And now having this thing, have full S Pen support, I think it's going to be really, really nice for people to have, in particular people that draw, because we're not getting a Galaxy Note this year. The Z Fold 3 is going to take the spot of the Note. And honestly, having a much bigger canvas to write on, this thing could be better than the Note. Now, the only thing I can really think of that might be a problem is that on the Z Fold, you do have that sort of, I can see if the light hits it just right, you kind of have a little dip there in the middle, and that might feel strange dragging your pen across it. I'm not sure. That's something that remains to be seen. But ultimately, the Z Fold 3 looks to be a good step in the right direction because you're getting the pen, you're shrinking the camera bump, you're going under display camera, you're going to shrink the visibility of that crease in the middle from what I've seen. You're going to be more durable. You're also going to be able to close all the way without having that telltale gap in the middle of the device, which is there on the Z Fold 2. And there are rumors that the price could be as much as 40% cheaper, which could bring it into that $1,700 range, which is all a bunch of huge steps in the right direction. Well, what about the Z Flip 3? I think it looks really, really good. My wife Jessie says it looks like the Pixel 2. It's got the Panda look going on. Obviously, much, much larger cover display from what we had on the original Z Flip and the Z Flip 2, which is kind of not a 2, but I digress. Much more usable cover display. Apparently the bezels, the border around the screen on the inside is going to be smaller as well. No word yet on the camera specs because we just haven't seen reports on this, but probably an ultra wide and a standard should be pretty decent. Expecting Snapdragon 888 in both these devices if I failed to mention that about the Z Fold. 12 gigs of RAM in the Fold, 6 or 8 gigs in the Z Flip from what we're seeing. And again, apparently the price is coming down. Again, I've seen reports of up to 40% cheaper, maybe $1,100, $1,200 could be a reality for the Z Flip 3. It's actually kind of funny because I'm really interested in the Z Fold 3. My wife Jessie really wants the Z Flip 3. She really loves the idea of a phone that could get much smaller to fit in her tiny girl pockets in her pants, because for some reason girl pants don't have pockets you could fit any kind of phone at all in. And of course, I'm greatly excited about the idea of being able to compare a new Fold with the Surface Duo 2 when that does come out, although that might be prohibitively expensive for me to do. We'll see what I might be able to come up with. The Duo 2 I'm definitely going to have to get. I don't know if I can justify getting the Fold unless something crazy happens, but we'll see. I'm still very excited about the Z Fold 3. I'd love to know how excited you guys are about these devices in the comments down below. Does the Z Fold 3 with that S Pen, does that begin to tempt you at all? Those of you that love using your Surface stylus or your Surface Pen on your Surface Duo. Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks as always for making it through the entirety of this video. Thanks to those of you who have supported me at scaryofliteral.com and to my contributors on Flatter. You guys make this whole thing work. So guys, stay tuned for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.